The Knicks have been mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. Julius Randle is most likely out for the season, so it's time to look at the NBA offseason for the New York Knicks. And if you want the Knicks to trade Julius Randle, go down and like this video. And today's show, we got 5 trade destinations for Julius Randle. And if you want to see it happen, go down right now and like this video. Welcome into New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. And today's show, we've got 5 Julius Randle trade destinations to get to. But first, I kind of want to set the stage a little bit and talk about what's been going wrong for Julius Randle this season. It's been a bad season for him, coming off a year last year where he was second all-team NBA, the NBA's most improved player, and got that mega extension from the New York Knicks. Let's look at 10 blunders that have happened for Julius Randle throughout the 2021 and 2022 NBA season. All the things that he's done wrong, like the thumbs down incident, where he pretty much told the fans to STFU. Then the Rudy Gobert fight at the end of the game. And then the Cam Johnson scuffle, where he pushed him and they got into an argument. Julius Randle ended up getting thrown out, where Randle was having one of his best games of the season. Then Cam Johnson caught fire and hit a game-winning 3-point bank shot to send the Knicks packing. He has a career-high 12 technicals, and he's been texting in post-game press conference interviews where the media have been asking him questions. What about when he slapped the laptop out of an assistant coach's hands on the sideline? He has $163,000 in fines this season. He's not speaking to the media. He's gone, stretches of seasons where he hasn't, stretches of this season where he hasn't spoken to the media. And there's been rumors that the Knicks have been paying his fines. Recently, on road games, he hasn't been participating in the starting lineup announcements. He's been hanging out in the back to get warmed up. And he's also been dressing by himself in their locker room away from everybody else and the rest of his teammates. If that's not bad enough, his stats compared to last year are even worse. Last year, he was an MVP candidate. He was a top 5 MVP guy. Second team All-NBA. Most improved player in the National Basketball Association. 24, 10, and 6. 46% from the field, and almost 42% from 3. This year, everything has fallen off for Julius Randle. The raw numbers of 20, 10, and 5 are okay. But the field goal percentage of 41 and a three-point percentage of 11 percentage points lower, it's just not worked out for Julius Randle. So I want you to answer this question for me. Should the Knicks trade Julius Randle? They're going to have to make an important decision this offseason. It seems like he's almost stunning the growth of the youth on this roster. I don't think him and RJ Barrett really fit on the court that well. I think he's jealous of Obi Toppin. But answer this question, type T for trade, or if you want to hang on to him, you can type P for pass. And go down and hit that big red button to join the Knicks Now family. We're trying to get to 6,000 subscribers on this channel, and I want to get there by the time of NBA free agency, because that's when you're going to want to be locked in. This is the channel that's going to be breaking down every move from NBA free agency to trade targets, to trade talks, to trade rumors, to the NBA draft. So stay locked in, hit that big red button, and join the Knicks family. Alrighty, we got 5 Julius Randle trade destinations to get into. I looked at some rosters, I looked at some articles, and talked to some people about teams that might be interested in Randle. And the first one we're going to touch on is the Charlotte Hornets. I think they have a need for a power forward to go along with LaMelo Ball. And speaking of LaMelo Ball, it's time for the Hornets to make LaMelo Ball already the face of the franchise. So what about a trade of Julius Randle for Scary Terry Rozier? I don't think LaMelo Ball is ever going to be able to reach his maximum ceiling, which may be a top 5 point guard in the association, if Scary Terry is consistently on this roster taking the ball out of his hands. Rozier is a good 2 guard alongside LaMelo, but if you got LaMelo a real 2 guard, that was a 3-and-D type of player at an above average height, that would be a long and lengthy backcourt that can give teams in the East problems for a very long time. When you look at what Terry Rozier has done this year for the Charlotte Hornets, he's having one of the best seasons, of his NBA career. He's playing about 34 minutes per night, and he's almost averaging 25 and 5, 19.3 points per game, 4.4 assists. He's shooting a very nice 37% from 3, and he's shooting 44% from the field. I would love to see Rozier in the Knicks uniform in Madison Square Garden, because how many times has Rozier, whether he was a part of the Boston Celtics or a part of the Charlotte Hornets, come into MSG and light the rims on fire? He's someone that consistently has those games where he just goes off. And the Knicks, they need a point guard. And I think Rozier and RJ Barrett will be a nice backcourt for the New York Knicks. But would you trade Randle for Rozier straight up? If you would, you can go down and type Y for yes. Or if you're like, no, that's not enough, we got to get more for Randle, that's fine. Go down and type N for no. Another team to look out for, and as a Julius Randle trade destination, what about the Indiana Pacers? They have a couple guys who we'll show in a second that I think could all come back in a Julius Randle trade. You got Miles Turner, someone that's been rumored to be traded to the Knicks for a very long time, and there's been an ongoing rumor that the Knicks could look to trade Julius Randle for Miles Turner. There was a rumor that came out last week that said the Knicks could be looking to get a center back in a Julius Randle trade because they may not be able to pay Mitchell Robinson. And then Buddy Hield, the sharp shooting guard. He can light it up from three. He's a bucket getter. And then you also have Malcolm Brogdon. That's the person I would want from the Pacers in a Julius Randle trade. If you look what Brogdon has done in the last 2 seasons, they've been cut short due to injury, and I know that's probably not a good thing, and the Knicks so many times have traded for players that have been a little bit past their prime and into the stages of their career where they consistently deal with injuries, but Brogdon, when he's on the court, he's an absolute baller, and he's a two-way guard that I think would fit really well in a Tom Thibodeau offense. He averages about 20 points per game, 6 assists, shoots about 45% from the field, and he needs to get that three-point percentage up. Last year it was almost 39%. This year it was 31%. But if you had to choose one player to come back from Indiana to New York in a Julius Randle trade, pick one of these guys. I think any one of these guys would be okay to get back in a Julius Randle trade of a just straight a swap for a swap. But if you want Miles Turner, you can go down and type MT. If you think Buddy Hield would light it up at MSG, you can type BH. Or if you want Malcolm Brogdon, like I do, to be the point guard of the Knicks, you can go down and type MB. Trade destination number 3 for Julius Randle. What about the Sacramento Kings? There was rumors at the NBA trade deadline that there was going to be a Julius Randle for De'Aaron Fox trade. But then Tyrese Halliburton got traded to the Indiana Pacers, a trade that no one really saw happening at the time. I think if you were to have a Julius Randle trade happen going to the Kings, it would be 2 players coming back, either Harrison Barnes or De'Aaron Fox. And when you look at what they've done this season, Harrison Barnes does what Harrison Barnes does. Averages about 17 points per game, almost 6 rebounds, 2.5 assists, a very efficient scorer, 47% from the field, a very nice 40% from the three-point line. And then De'Aaron Fox, the all-world point guard, one of the fastest players in the National Basketball Association, the former lottery pick out of Kentucky, averages 23 points this year, just 4 rebounds. I'd like to see his assist numbers get a little bit higher, and they have been since Tyrese was traded at the NBA trade deadline, but only shooting 29% from 3. If I had to choose between those 2 guys, it would be De'Aaron Fox. I want the Knicks to get a point guard. So what about a trade like this, where the Knicks, they get De'Aaron Fox, but they ship out Julius Randle, Cam Reddish, and 2 first-round picks? Honestly, I don't even know if this is enough for the Sacramento Kings to say yes, but be the GM for me. Who wins this trade? If you think the New York Knicks win, you can go down and type NYK. Or if you think the Sacramento Kings win this trade, you can go down and type SAC. I'm curious where you all stand. Who knows if the Kings even want to trade De'Aaron Fox after the Tyrese Halliburton trade? There's been some rumors around it, but rumors are just rumors, and that's what we break down on this channel. So who wins this trade, NYK or SAC? Team number 4, the Dallas Mavericks. What about going back to Dallas, where Julius Randle grew up, where Julius Randle went to high school? There's some people still in the Dallas Mavericks organization that believe in Julius Randle. So what about a homecoming? A trade of Julius Randle for what about a guy maybe like Jalen Brunson, who's going to be a free agent and might get the bag in NBA free agency, and the Dallas Mavericks necessarily don't want to shout out the big bucks for a short point guard that hasn't really proven it throughout his NBA career? What about a sign and trade, a swap of Randle for Jalen Brunson? If that were to happen, I would be ecstatic because I'm a big Jalen Brunson guy. He's having the best season of his young NBA career. 16 points, almost 5 assists, shooting above 50% from the field, and 37% from deep. And I think all of those numbers, if he were to get away from Luka Doncic and be the lead guard of a team like the New York Knicks, he could average almost 20 and 10 in my opinion. I really like Jalen Brunson. He's a bulldog on defense. He just has that grinder type of mentality. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He was drafted in the 2nd round. He didn't get the benefits that he reaped in college when he was one of the best players at Villanova. So pick one for me. If you can only have one on the roster for the Knicks next year, would it be Julius Randle or Jalen Brunson? I would lean towards Brunson. I think Brunson and R.J. Barrett and all the other young guys on this team like Obi Toppin and Emmanuel Quickley would fit really well together. So type JR for Julius Randle or JB for Jalen Brunson. the last trade destination for Julius Randle? What about going back? Going back to New Orleans and playing for the Pelicans at the Smoothie King Arena. You probably already know it by now, but what about trading Julius Randle in a package to get Zion Williamson? Yes, Zion Williamson. We've talked about him on the channel before. I'm indifferent when it comes to trading for Zion. I'll show you my, list of concerns that I have if the Knicks were to trade for Zion, because I do think there are some. But what about trading Julius Randle, Quentin Grimes? That one hurts. I really like Quentin. And 2 first-round picks for Zion Williamson. Get in the comments and let me know. If you were Leon Rose, would you make this trade of Julius Randle, QG, and 2 first-round picks for Zion Williamson? You can go down and type A for if you accept the deal, or if you're like, this is no way, way too much, I'm not giving up Quentin Grimes, that's fine. I understand that, and I kind of side with that. You can go down and type D for decline if you're not on board with this trade. When it comes to Zion Williamson and the Knicks trading for him, these are some concerns I have. The Knicks, they've been there and done that. They've gone star chasing. They've shredded the roster to go and get a star. They've gone for guys that are a little bit into their career where they're starting to hit that injury-plagued part of their career. Zion is still young, I know that. But when you're 6'7", and you're 300 pounds, and you're one of the most explosive athletes in the world, that's going to have a lot of problems on your knees for a long time. His inability to stay on the floor is a problem. He hasn't played a game this year. He missed a large chunk of games his rookie year, so he's very injury prone. His weight is a problem. The fact that he's not even 25 years old and he's already having weight problems, that's not good when especially you have all the extreme doctors that you have at your disposal in the association. You have the best nutritionists in the world and you're unable to stay in shape. How will he evolve when he's not the most dominant and physically imposing athlete on the court and he's not able to just jump and dunk over players? How is this game going to change? Will he have a long career? Will he be ever to add a jump shot and be a long-term player in the NBA? At the end of the day, I think you might have to pull a trigger on a Zion Williams trade if you're able to dump Julius Randle, but there's definitely some concerns by adding Zion. I appreciate everyone that's made today's show a part of their day. So go down and like this video if you made it this far. You're a real one. And give me a follow on Twitter at @MarshallGreen_. I'd greatly appreciate it. Trying to get to 2,000 followers. So give me a follow at @MarshallGreen_.